Okay, if I could have your attention, we'll get started. Ms. Whitby, if you'll call the roll.
Sarah Ross. Here. White.
Here.
Taylor is going to be absent. Robinson.
Here.
Baxter.
Here.
Harris.
Here.
Height.
Here.
And Witcher.
Present.
Quorum is present, sir.
Thank you. I invite you to stand for prayer and pledge led by Council Member Baxter.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the many blessings you bestow upon us each and every day, Lord. I'm most thankful that we serve in a democratic nation, Lord. We're just thankful for that. We ask that you would bless those who keep us safe, home and abroad, Lord, and each and every one of our city employees. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So moved. Second.
On the motion.
On the motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting, Ross.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Baxter.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Height.
Here.
And Witcher.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Let's go into communications, see 1 through 4. Anybody want to pull?
Three.
Pull 3, all right. All right, how about a motion to accept 1, 2, and 4?
So moved. Second.
On the motion.
Got these.
On the motion, Ross.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Baxter.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Height.
Yes.
And Witcher.
Yes.
Number 3, do you want it read or by title?
Just by title, so we can, I know that John Barber's here, and so we can just recognize him.
Okay.
This is a letter dated October 18th to Mr. John Barber from Mayor Joe A. Smith regarding appointment as Chief Information Technology Officer.
Thank you.
John, where are you, John? There's John in the back. John, congratulations. We know that you're going to take our IT department to the next level. Thank you very much.
Okay. I'm sorry, Mayor, I'm sorry. Could we pull or read number 2?
Sure.
We need to discuss that.
We need a motion and a second on number 3.
On number 3, how about a motion and a second on 3?
So moved.
Second.
On the motion.
Ross?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Height?
Yes.
And Witcher?
Yes.
And number 2, do you want it read or by title?
Yes. Read it, please.
This is a memorandum dated October 17, 2017, to North Little Rock City Council members from Karen Scott, Finance Director, regarding the non-uniform pension funding recommendation.
Mayor?
To read the whole thing?
No.
Oh, okay.
Could we call on Ms. Scott, please, for an
Sure,
explanation?
absolutely. Karen? Hi, Karen.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I just wanted to discuss the non-uniform pension funding, and I sent out with the memorandum a copy of the latest actuarial study that discusses, once again, the need for additional funding for our non-uniform pension. If you'll remember, last year you all approved an increase of the city's contribution in the amount of 3%, taking it to 9%, and then the employees have continued to contribute 4%. The non-uniform pension board looked at many options from the actuary, discussing future funding status, if we could increase the funding percentages. And what I have in the memo is a recommendation that the city increase their percentage 1% up to 10%, and employees also increase 1% up to 5%, but that we also change all employee contributions to pre-tax. So right now, all employee contributions are post-tax. So this would have a benefit to them from a net payroll standpoint to change theirs to pre-tax. We did look at a couple of different employees, what that would mean for their individual net pay effect, and it of course depends on their different tax situations. But the colored spreadsheet that I handed out at your desk is the actuary's projections for what the fund would look like in the event that you agreed to the additional 1 and 1. And so the before is what it would look like if we do nothing. The after column is if the recommendation is approved of additional 1 and 1. So funding percentage right now is 63% funded. But as you see, the red numbers are bad, the green numbers are good. As we go through the years, we get in a better position from a funding status. And then, of course, on the far right, projected years until full funding, you see that green number is substantially better in the event that we add the additional 1 plus 1%. So tonight, I would really like your, I guess, blessing on this, because we have, our pension attorney is needing to do work on this. This is going to require a plan amendment to be submitted to the IRS, because it is going to change to a pre-tax deduction for employees. And this really needs to be in effect on January 1st. Councilmember Witcher is, of course, your representative on the non-uniform pension board. I also have Lawrence with the actuaries here tonight. If you have questions I can't answer. I went through that kind of fast, I'm sorry.
You know, we fought this last year, the year before, and we probably should have started fighting it 20 years ago. And we didn't. And so now, you know, we're having to make the hard decisions, and they're pretty big percentages. But, you know, I was talking to a financial advisor the other day, and you know, everybody's getting away from pension funds. And everybody's going into a 401k or something like that, where they would help their employees with those, and instead of us managing their retirement money, they'd manage their own. I don't know that option it would be for us in the future, where we said, okay, anybody that's hired after 2019 is on a 401k plan and not on our non-uniform. I don't know if you can do that. But these numbers just popped up, and we need to get those in front of you, because we're trying to finish our budget work and all that stuff. So we think that we feel comfortable that we can afford it, and we think that if we do this, and one of our employees his paycheck is $5 less, we don't think that that's going to cause a whole lot of issues in his family planning. So, anybody have any questions? Ms.
Okay,
Ross?
and this is not pertaining to that, I mean, in a way it is. So if the employees, this is pre-tax to the employees, when they retire, as far as their income tax bracket, and is it kind of like an IRA and a Roth?
Right,
basically?
so if this is what you all decide to do, beginning January 1st, their contributions would be kept up with separately for prior to January 1st, because upon retirement, part of their retirement earnings would be taxable and part would be non-taxable. Yes.
Okay. I'm assuming that we're going to come back in with legislation at the next meeting?
The legislation is really going to be around the first meeting in December, by the time the attorney can get all of the paperwork together.
Okay. Thank you. If anybody's got any questions or issues between now and then, and I'll encourage our information to get out to all of our non-uniform employees, so that they can be ready that this might be very well happening. So,
Mayor,
yeah.
I have a question about number one, communication number one.
We're still on number 2. Can we finish that?
Pardon me?
We're still on number 2. We need to finish that
I
first.
thought we were done with two.
Do we need to approve it again?
You need a motion and a second on number 2.
Okay. Talk to me,
I need a motion and a second.
Murray,
So move.
Second,
on the motion.
Ross?
yes.
White?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Height?
Yes.
And Witcher?
Yes.
Okay, you're good to go now.
Question on one?
On number one, several years ago, here on the city council, didn't we set some limits as to convenience stores selling beer or wine within a certain distance of churches? Did
Well, ABC says
we
that.
do
State
that?
regulation.
Pardon me?
It's state.
Yeah, there's state laws that restrict the sale of alcoholic beverages within certain distances of churches or,
Is that still in
protected
force?
sites. Yes, to my knowledge it is, but that's, of course, state law that's enforced by the ABC through licensing.
Okay, so this permit request up there for the MAPCO up on JFK at the corner of D and JFK, how far is that from the Park Hill Baptist Church?
I have
More than
no
1,000
idea.
feet. It's gotta be-
Pardon me?
It's got to be 1,000 feet.
It's got to be 1,000 feet, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think the convenience store on the opposite corner already sells beer and wine.
Can we check that out?
Well, Chief Davis, are you hearing this? The map code 3401 JFK? Just make sure that it's, I mean, I'm sure ABC's looked at this, but. Okay, thank you.
Mayor,
Yes.
they've been selling beer for a year and a half or more. This is just to add wine to it.
Okay,
Okay, this is the one I'm thinking about then, yeah.
okay, they're just adding wine to their
They already have an ABC
products.
permit.
Well, I understand that, but does,
You don't like wine?
I don't,
All right, Chief Davis will check it out and let us all know tomorrow. Okay, are we through, Ms. Whitby?
Yes, sir.
With that, all right, we've got a presentation tonight, and I see Bill in the audience. We do this once a year, and it's certainly an honor for me to make this proclamation. Bill Barling has been instrumental in getting thousands of children adopted into caring homes, and so I want to again make today this his special day. So I'm going to walk down the podium, and Bill, if you'll work your way up to the podium, I'll give you an opportunity to say a few words. Bill, how are you, buddy?
Yes.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah, there's a lot here to say, but, some of the most important things, it says, each year across the country, American families adopt more than 50,000 children from foster care annually. And your organization has done this for how many years now?
Next year will be our 25th year.
And how many children have been adopted through you?
765.
Wow. That's
With Arkansas family.
Yeah, you're a wonderful man, Bill. And so anyway, therefore, I, Joe A. Smith, Mayor of the City of North Little Rock, Arkansas, do hereby proclaim November 2017 as Adoption Awareness Month, and it's signed by me and Diane Whitby, our city clerk. And I want to say thank you again for all the hard work, and I've always given you the mic, so take it and run with it.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Okay.
Uh,
Go ahead. I'll go back.
All right.
Go ahead.
Sounds like it,
Yeah,
okay,
there's a mic right there.
great. Thank you, Mayor Smith, and thank you, councilmen and women, for allowing me to talk about my favorite subject, adoption. We don't realize, the ordinary American citizen doesn't realize how important adoption is. Because adoption is the only chance for many thousands of children all across America to grow up in a permanent family. And I have almost 50 years of clinical practice as a clinical social worker in Arkansas. And I know something about the stresses on families and how easily they are to disintegrate and shatter. Well, who suffers the most? The children. And what a lot of people don't realize is those children eventually grow up. But if they've never had a permanent family, how can they produce a permanent family? And unfortunately, we know that a lot don't. Many of my colleagues agree with me that of those children that age out of foster care at 18, and it's about 35,000 nationally, that probably fewer than half of those will reach their 30th birthday. And this is in our country, America. It also means that we taxpayers have to pay a whole lot more because it costs the federal government $50,000 a year to keep one child in foster care for that year. 50 grand. And when they age out, they don't pay taxes because they're on the streets. The only talents they know is stealing and selling drugs or sex. Now, none of you here wants that for any child that you know. And we can do something about it. Many of you have done something about it. Just for a moment, I'd like for anyone who has ever foster cared to stand up, please, in the audience. I want to recognize you. Anyone who has adopted, please stand up. Or anyone who was adopted, please stand up. Where's my counter? Please stand up.
You got 4 or 5.
Okay, I want to give you an applause for what you've done for our city and our state and our country. I have some brochures on the table and some bands, and I encourage you to wear it for the month of November.
Thank you, Bill, so very much. What a great guy. Okay, let's go into business, I guess. First thing we need to do is public comment on pending legislation. First one up is Montine McNulty. 3 minutes, please.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. I'll be brief. You know, it was a little over 60 days that I read comments from Mayor Smith, and I actually saw him and congratulated him on the good job he did. But his comment was, we don't have enough money to run the city. We're going to have to lay off people. The mayor worked hard, as did many of you, to build a case for the city sales tax with an increase of 1% by January 1st. There was good communication and support, and the tax passed, and you all should be congratulated. Now today, we're back considering a North Little Rock tax on hotels to go from 3% to 4%. That means that there will be a 2% tax increase for a hotel guest beginning January 1st, if passed tonight. There are a number of hotel owners in our audience today who are good businessmen in North Little Rock and women, and they also collect and they also pay a lot of taxes in this city. But taxes in North Little Rock will go from a whopping 13.5% to 15%. And that's a pretty big increase on hotel customers. That doesn't take into consideration any alcohol tax or food tax. So it is a huge collection and a huge amount of taxes. I haven't seen any. I've seen estimates of construction, but no real costs. I'm just here to asking you, I wish you'd discuss this tonight and consider delaying the consideration of this vote. I think that the communications makes a big difference in how things are done. Before it's put on the industry again, and 6.5 state sales tax, 4% city hotel tax with this, 2% state hotel tax, 1% county sales tax, and a 2% city sales tax. I would hope you would talk to them about the competitive disadvantage that this puts them in. And I know you want the best for them and you want the best for your city. I want the best for the Little Rock AMP and everything that has to do with tourism, and just ask for your careful consideration and hope you will open up more dialogue on this issue. I thank you for letting me speak tonight.
Thank you, Montine.
Okay.
Tom Roy.
I'm also going to speak about the 1% hotel tax. I'm a member of the AMP Commission, and I voted no on the passage of this tax. And to expound upon what Monteen said, this is going to put us at a competitive disadvantage with the hotels across the river. And everyone thinks that this hotel tax will only be charged to hotel guests, and that's just not the case. If we have a group that decides not to stay in North Little Rock because of this tax, all the restaurant business, shopping business, everything moves to Little Rock, and the city's deprived of all our sales tax, not just our hotel tax, as well as restaurant taxes, alcohol taxes, et cetera. So there's a lot more involved than just a hotel paying 1% with out-of-town guests. If we lose those groups and we lose those businesses, we have to make up for that. And the way we make up for that is we start cutting our costs. One of those major costs are employees, one of the biggest costs in the hotel business. And that's going to result in the potential of lost jobs, and we don't want to see that for the people in North Little Rock. And a lot of the employees, most of the employees employed at the hotels are North Little Rock residents. Second thing I wanted to talk about is the use of the tax. It's my understanding that the tax is going to be used to pay for a new downtown A&P building. Portion of it will be used to make lease payments, which are effectively mortgage payments on the construction of the new building, and the rest will be used for operations of the new building. This building won't be built for at least a year and maybe two. Why are we passing a tax now when we don't need the money right now? And it should be something we have plenty of time to talk about. We don't have to pass it tonight. It's something that the money is being used for something that's not going to occur for at least a year. The third point I would have is if this is for a new A&P building, why are the hotels being asked to pay 100% of the cost? A&P represents hotels, restaurants, shopping malls, all the businesses in North Little Rock, including attractions, and none of them are going to be participating in any way, shape, or form in this brand-new building, all the burdens being put on the back of the hotel. That's just not fair. Possibly we could have passed a 0.5% tax. That would have put us competitive with Little Rock at the same rate as them and put some of the burden, if additional monies are needed, in one of the other areas besides ourselves. I did see in the paper yesterday for the first time that none of the money is going to be used for operations of the plaza, which was exciting because up till now we were under the impression A&P would be managing it and didn't know who would be responsible for those operating costs. And that's very exciting as a member of the A&P Commission. That having been said, where is the money going to come from for the operations of the new plaza? We're going to be required to manage this property. The mayor, during the campaign for the sales tax, said none of the new sales tax would be used in any way for the plaza. Now we've been told none of the money from this tax will be used for the plaza. And we were told prior to the sales tax that we didn't have enough money to run the city without the sales tax. So where is the money going to come to operate this plaza that we're building a new A&P building for to manage?
Time's running up.
Yes, sir.
You're at 4 minutes.
What I'm asking the council to do is the same thing that Monteen requested. I'd like you to consider delaying this vote on the tax. If you're not able to delay the tax, at least consider delaying the effective date of the tax to when it's going to be needed to pay these mortgage payments and the payments that will be going to the operations of the building. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Tom. Manoj Patel.
Frank's hotel, Frank's financial guy.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and Councilmen and women. Thanks for giving us an opportunity. I am also A&P Commissioner, voted for this 1% tax increase, but was not disclosed that another 1% will be in play a week later after we pass in A&P Commission. Now we are raising 2% in only one industry, and that is going to give us a competitive disadvantage. And we will lose the business across the river. And that can impact the bottom line, because that 2% of the sales tax we collect, there will be another cost associated with that, credit card fees and all that on collection of the taxes. So the business's bottom line will be reduced, and that is going to be a disadvantage to all of us. So I again urge Commission to delay this vote and rethink regarding this. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Manoj. Frank Fletcher.
Councilmen and ladies and gentlemen, my name is Frank Fletcher. As most of you know, I've lived here in North Little Rock all my adult life. I've always supported the mayor since the time he ran, and I think we're still good friends, even though we're just on the opposite side of a situation. The mayor asked me when he first ran for election, Frank, you have a business downtown. What do you think is the biggest problem in downtown, and what we could do to get business going downtown and improve it? I said there's one single issue we need to address and always have, and that's the bus station. Today, the city says they really don't have the ability or the money to move the bus station. So that problem still exists. The city came to me and asked me to support the 1% sales tax increase. I agreed, and I donated $5,000 to the city's campaign. So please understand, I am for North Little Rock's growth and health, and not against it. I've supported the Chamber of Commerce requests for many things, such as the Police and Firemen's Award and on and on. We have been contributors and supporter of the North Little Rock Chamber. When I supported the sales tax, I did not think it would lead to a 2% hotel tax on January the 1st, which has been discussed before. Why will it hurt North Little Rock hotels? Our taxes will be 15.5% January the 1st if you vote tonight. That means a $100 room is going to cost $115.50. It's been said to me, no one makes a decision based on how much the tax is from one hotel to the next. I agree with that. I never look what the tax is when I decide on a hotel room. But companies do. We are a hotel that has large meetings. A lot of our meetings are from North Little Rock and Little Rock people. The company foots the bill, and they look at every cost involved and where they're going to have their meeting. So all of these gentlemen here tonight are to represent that there's not just one hotel that's against this. Ladies and gentlemen, you have every owner and all employees in North Little Rock feel like this will be very hurtful to us, and we ask you to reconsider. We ask you tonight to either delay this tax until we know what the expenses are going to be of the A&P and of the plaza, because we believe those two things are connected. We believe that, according to the newspaper, and I was involved with part of the newspaper article, that the city has reserved some money to pay for the plaza, and we would like to get answers before we decide on the hotel vote as to where the rest of the money for the plaza is going to come from, and what are the operating costs going to be in the future, and what is going to be the cost to the city. As you know, previous to this administration, the council voted to bring in the submarine and the Hoga boat. This was supposed to be a revenue neutral situation. I believe it is costing the city and the taxpayers $150,000 for the marine activities that we have now. We do not want the city to incur future expenses and obligations as that has happened. Also, we don't know if the trolley car, we don't know what the cost is of the trolley car because it's involved with the buses. But I don't see where the trolley car is bringing business to North Little Rock. What's the purpose of mentioning that? The purpose of is what is this new plaza going to actually bring to North Little Rock? If it brings something good, I will be happy and I will be glad I'm wrong. But if it does bring something good, our hotel will be the main one to benefit. These other hotels will not benefit from a downtown increase in business. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you.
Thank you, Frank. Mr. Ard.
Good evening, council members. Murray, if I yield my time to you, will you explain to me, do you feel comfortable doing it?
I'll try.
May I do that, Mayor?
What?
Yield my time to Murray and let him explain what this is for, because I might tell it wrong, and they're wanting to know. The only thing I ask, take it to 3 readings. That way they can't be upset with y'all for doing something wham bam. Thank you, ma'am. Do I have permission to yield to Murray?
No.
No?
He can,
Okay.
he can speak anytime he wants to.
You want to speak?
Mr. Ard, I appreciate that, but I think probably it would be better coming from the mayor.
Okay. I'm not sure what he wants, so I think all the council understands where the money's going, what we're doing, what our ideals are. You know, the hardest thing that we have to do as elected officials is have to vote against what one of our friends or mutual friends, more than one, you know, we're completely on different sides. And so it makes it harder for us to do our business. But I think that we're prepared to do that tonight. So without any further ado, I will like to pull that piece of legislation out of order so we can deal with it now. And these people won't have to wait that are here tonight to deal with it. So, Ms. Whitby, if you'll call 01782, please.
An ordinance increasing the North Little Rock advertising and promotion lodging tax 1%.
First reading.
Do I have a motion?
Move to suspend the rules and place it on its second reading.
Do I have a second?
Second.
On the motion.
Ross?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Height?
Because of a conflict of interest, I must abstain.
Okay, and Witcher?
Yes.
An ordinance increasing the North Little Rock advertising and promotion lodging tax 1%.
Second reading.
Got a motion. Put it on third, final reading.
Move to suspend the rules and place it on third reading, I'm sorry.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Ms.
On the-
Robinson?
Oh, sorry.
My comment is, I think this is a great project. But I have about 8 to 10 hotels, motels, inns in Ward 2. And some of those people have contacted me, and they don't really feel, and this may not be the place to say it, that they're not necessarily getting the support from A&P. And some have expressed that they really don't get a lot of business and that they're barely operating. They're able to stay open, and that this will hurt them. I don't know how many hotels are in other areas, but I know I've got about 8 to 10. And this is hard for me because I don't want to hurt any business. And I'm going to have to vote against this.
Okay, on the motion, Mr. Ross?
Yeah, just a couple of comments here. You know, having had a small business, I absolutely understand where they're coming from on this. You know, this 0.5% that we're higher than Little Rock, it does sunset in 5 years. So in 5 years, we will be equal to Little Rock. And I guess that, you know, when I go to a hotel, I don't check to see what the taxes is. So I know large companies may check to see, but, you know, that 0.5% more than Little Rock on $1 million is what, $500, something like that. So it's not a huge amount. But the one thing that I do understand is, as the collection agency for the city, these hotels, they're collecting this money for us. And when they do collect this money for us, 99% of business now is credit cards. You know, when it was cash, it was no big deal. But the credit card companies charge these hotels, I always called it a discount, I don't know what it's called now, but they charge them a fee anywhere from 2% to 4.5% on that credit card. So, you know, while it doesn't seem like a lot, you know, 10 cents here, 5 cents here, it really adds up, especially for the smaller businesses. And I guess where I'm going with this is that money's coming out of their pocket, and they are being our collection agency. And this is something I spoke with Mrs. Fields today. We have the 2% discount. If you pay your taxes early, you know, within 20 days, you get a 2% discount for being our collection agency. And she explained to me that, you know, because I was looking, can we give them a bigger discount by paying early? It's not a lot of money to us, but to them, it would be a lot of money. And that is tied in with the hamburger tax, so we couldn't just do that on the floor tonight. So that's something that I hope that we could look at possibly. You know, it's a 2% discount right now for paying your bills early, basically, is what it is. Possibly, if we could, she said we would have to separate the hamburger tax and the hotel tax, correct? Is that?
And if that was what the city council wanted to do, but currently it is set up where the whole payment scheme for collection of the hamburger tax plus the hotel tax is in one ordinance where there is a 2% discount if payment is made by a certain date of each month.
Right. And since this is only affecting the hotels, I don't see why they should not be given a bigger discount, which would help pay their credit card discounts that they are collecting for us as a collection agency. So, you know, I've been on the fence on this, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. But basically what it comes down to me is when that money's coming directly out of their pocket to do our work as a collection agency, that's where I'm having a really hard time voting for this. So if there's something that we could do to give them some relief if this does pass, you know, my first thought when I called Ms. Fields is, can we do a 4% discount? And I mean, that's, you know, we get our money faster, they get their discount, and it pays their credit card discount. And then in 5 years, we will be back equal with Little Rock. So this is something I throw out. This was very last minute. I didn't even have time to talk to you about it, Mayor. So this is something that I would like to see if the council is willing to do. I checked with Bob Majors, A&P. He couldn't give me a figure because they don't break that discount out on what it would actually be. I was trying to get the numbers on that. So this is
Got a
something.
feel for how many people take advantage of that? What percentage?
A&P collects it now.
A&P's collecting that now, but when we were doing it, I would say over half, we're doing restaurants and hotel motel. We're taking advantage of paying early to get the discount.
I know when I had a restaurant, I paid mine early. I don't care if it was $20 I was getting. I wanted my $20 because it helped pay, you know, the difference in that discount
Absolutely.
fee. And then if they're collecting cash, then they get the 2% on it for paying early.
I don't think I'd have a problem with that. I'd like to see the numbers, but
Right.
that makes sense to me.
So, I mean, I could, you know, I'm for the plaza, absolutely for the plaza, because I do know that it's going to bring more people into North Little Rock. With, you know, like I said, I stayed in 12 hotels a couple of weeks ago throughout the whole United States, and some were 18%, you know. It was anywhere from 14 to 18%. So I understand that. I never went to check to see what the fee was, and then some threw the resort fee on it. So I don't think that that's necessarily on 0.5%, even on $1 million contract with a company. But the credit card coming, that's what hit home with me.
I would certainly look at that and try to make that happen this year, so it could go into effect first of the year.
Okay.
All right, we're on suspended rules.
Right, it's been read a second time, and there's a motion and a second pending. You ready for me to call the roll?
Please.
Okay, Ross?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Robinson?
No.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Height?
Abstain.
Witcher?
Yes, I'm sorry.
All right, how about a motion to adopt?
Um,
Point of order, that's 5 votes.
Yeah.
Mayor's vote.
Mayor votes yes.
Okay.
An ordinance increasing the North Little Rock advertising and promotion lodging tax 1%.
Third and final reading.
Do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
How about a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion on the vote?
Ross?
Hold it.
No, this is with with the assurance that we will definitely go back and look at this as far as giving them some kind of relief, and invite everybody to the A&P meetings and let them give their input if they feel that they're not being represented.
Absolutely.
So, open the doors to them.
Ross?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Robinson?
No.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Height?
Just one, I learned several days ago that I had a conflict of interest in this matter. And I checked on it over the weekend, and then as late as this afternoon, I confirmed that I do indeed have a conflict of interest. So I must abstain from voting.
Witcher?
Yes.
The motion carries. On the emergency, Ross?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Height?
Abstain.
And Witcher?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much, and I certainly want to say thank you to all those that came out and participated tonight. I'll take a 3-minute recess. You're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, but if you'd like to ease out quietly, I'll take a 3-minute recess. Going into old business.
Unfinished business, 01777, Mayor Smith, council members Witcher and Height.
Call it, please.
No,
Nope.
we're going to withdraw it.
Okay.
Yeah, we met with Bert Turner last week, and this particular legislation did not solve our problem. And
Mayor,
so,
I had sent an email. You remember I met with Bert Turner, and while this legislation does not entirely solve his problem, he still has to have the animal control code amended, plus have his special use permit amended, and he was ready to go forward with this with some amendments to it after he had visited with his neighbors there near St. Joseph's. And I sent an email to you and to council members Height and Witcher about our meeting.
Mayor,
Yeah.
would it be unreasonable to ask Mr. Turner to come to a council meeting and explain to us what he wants to do?
no, but I mean, I thought that that's what the meeting was about, to get to where we wanted to go, and that this didn't address the current animal
Just bring it.
agricultural
Right.
tourism, but
He's going to have to take 2 steps because the animal control ordinance will have to be amended, and he wants to spend some time looking at the special use on that property and deciding exactly what it is that he wants to ask for as far as amending the special use or seeking a new special use. But he does want, but both of the ordinances will have to be amended, the animal control code and the special use.
And we do have a change, Mayor.
So everybody knew about this but me.
I emailed you.
And sometimes that's not quite good enough.
I have a question.
I mean, I don't care.
The confusion is, this under section D, paragraph I, it says you're not allow within 100 feet. I thought our legislation originally said 75 feet.
It did. This is an amended version of that legislation. That's the amendment that's been distributed. And I think Mr. Turner's communicated with some of the neighboring property owners to try to find one that would help them to more peaceably exist. So that's,
I visited with.
That's the purpose, I think, for amending that to
I
the
visited
language.
with one, and one of the property owners, and we all know him, and he was agreeable to 75 feet. You know,
Okay. Well, Alderman, do you want me to call this, or do you want us to call this? You want to hold it?
Whatever the council chooses.
Are we solving a step? Is this going to be one of our two steps?
It is one of two steps.
Right.
You can choose to solve it, you can hold it. I don't have
Okay,
any
I'm
emotion
fine with
about
it.
it one way or the other.
All right, we'd like to call it, I think,
Okay.
Mayor.
Sorry.
You want to call it?
Yes, please.
An ordinance amending Chapter 2, Animal Control of the North Little Rock Municipal Code regarding keeping of hogs, goats, or sheep under certain conditions.
Second reading.
Mayor, we have an amendment.
Okay.
As previously stated by Mr. Height, in Section 1, subsection I, it said to be boarded or permanently pastured within 100 feet of any residential property line.
All right, how about a second on that motion to amend?
So moved.
On the motion to amend?
Quick question, so there wasn't, so that's okay, because it was just read a second time, it's not being suspended. Okay, never mind, press on. Ross?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Height?
Yes.
And Witcher?
Yes.
Now are you ready to suspend the reading?
Yes.
So I need a motion for that.
Motion to suspend? Sorry?
I'm sorry. I think we need to amend. I'm sorry.
You just amended,
I know.
okay.
Okay. I'd like to pass it with the amendment.
Well, first we have to suspend the readings. It's on the
Suspend
second
the
reading.
readings, okay.
Second.
On the motion?
2, 3, okay.
Okay. Ross?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Here.
Height?
Yes.
And Witcher?
Yes.
An ordinance amending Chapter 2, Animal Control of the North Little Rock Municipal Code regarding keeping of hogs, goats, or sheep under certain conditions.
Third and final reading as amended.
How about a motion to adopt
So moved.
as amended on the motion?
Who was the
Inge,
second?
Second.
Ross?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Height?
Yes.
And Witcher?
Yes.
On the emergency, Ross?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Height? And Witcher?
Yes.
Okay, consent agenda, anybody want to pull one of those? Seeing none, all those in favor of the consent agenda say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign, motion carries. New business, Ms. Whitney,
17-184, Mayor Smith.
please call it.
A resolution approving and certifying amounts of liens to be filed with the Pulaski County Tax Collector against certain real properties in the city of North Little Rock, Arkansas as a result of grass cutting expenses and abatement of other nuisances.
Move for adoption.
How about a second?
Second.
Have a motion, have a public hearing. Anybody here to speak on certain real properties and grass cutting expenses and abatement and other nuisances? Seeing none, close the public hearing on the motion.
Ross?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Height? And
Yes.
Witcher?
Yes.
Ordinances 01780, Mayor Smith.
Withdraw it, please.
Okay. 01781, Mayor Smith.
Withdraw it, please.
Okay. 01783, Mayor Smith.
Please call it.
An ordinance increasing the North Little Rock advertising and promotion lodging tax
No.
1%.
Oh, no.
Go to 83, Shannon.
We skipped that, sorry. An ordinance amending North Little Rock Municipal Code, Chapter 12, Public Safety, Section 3.2.4, to add a subsection on open burning.
Move to
First
suspend the
reading.
readings.
Okay.
Second.
On the motion to suspend the readings?
On the motion.
Ross?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Height?
Yes.
And Witcher?
Yes.
Is there a motion to adopt?
So moved.
On the motion, sorry.
Motion to adopt.
I was trying to get one ahead of you.
Ross?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Height?
Yes.
And Witcher?
Yes.
On the emergency, Ross?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Height?
Yes.
And Witcher?
Yes.
01784, Mayor
Madam
Smith.
Mayor, the question on that, was this mean we're not going to get our burn barrels back?
Actually, I don't know that I read this thing that closely.
Chief Tucker's here.
You know, Lieutenant, you want to address that?
Those were the good old days, wasn't it, when you could burn your leaves in the backyard?
So, what exactly is the question?
Just my statement, it was kind of comical, was that passing this legislation definitely means we're not going to get our burn barrels back in our backyard, is that right?
Well, actually, it doesn't. It's passing that there will be a fee for having a burn in your yard. So there's a set fee for commercial, residential, and then a bonfire fee.
Yeah, $10
Yeah.
fee.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Dusty.
One more thing while you're up here, Dustin.
Lieutenant?
Oh, Lieutenant, sorry. Can you just kind of explain, because I think a lot of people are going to think that this is that they can't have their fire pits or they can't have their chimeneas too, that they do not have to have a permit for that. If you can just kind of explain that.
Correct. The anything that is UL listed or rated that you can buy from the store that's been tested and proven safe, there should not be a fee for that. The open burning, where you have fire that is more than 2 foot wide and a flame taller than 3 foot tall, then you would have to have a special permit for that, and it's $25. If you're going to have a bonfire, let me back up to that $25. That's for 3 days. If it's a commercial fire of any kind where a company has to come in and clear a big area, they're only allowed to burn natural vegetation, so they're not burning their debris that they'd already, pay to have hauled off. It's going to be a $200 fee. It's a $10 fee for a bonfire. If you have a special event where you want to have a larger, bigger fire, then it's a $10 and it's good for 8 hours.
Okay, I have one more question, because we're coming up on leaf season.
Yes.
As far as burning leaves, just out in your yard and burning leaves, because we have that every once in a while around our area.
Right, and it's my understanding that the city has the ability to pick leaves up. So on our burn permit, it states no burning of leaves on there.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, where are we, Ms. Whitby?
01784, Mayor Smith.
Please call it.
Okay.
An ordinance amending North Little Rock Municipal Code, Chapter 4, Buildings and Building Regulations to include the requirement of a permit for grading and land alterations.
First reading.
How about a motion?
So moved.
Suspend all readings.
How about a second?
Second.
Okay, on the motion.
Ross?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Height?
Yes.
And Witcher?
Yes.
How about a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
On the motion.
Ross?
Can we get Sean to come up and, is this Sean's or is this city engineers?
Both.
I've worked with both of them about
Okay,
it.
just
I mean,
kind of, just
explain
a
Yeah, so.
executive summary, basically.
Yeah, so the summary is just when we have open space, it's that people are going in and doing a lot of grading or mass clearing work. If it's your tree, I mean, you generally have the right to cut your tree, but if you're in a dissimilar zoned area, then those trees or that vegetation may be serving as a buffer zone between two spots. So we want to try to maintain those natural buffers as best we can. That's why there's a permit required for it. And also, if someone's grading land or doing something where they're going to push water onto their neighbor, like it moves something around, alter the natural flow of water, then that would require a permit. And we can, it gives our engineers a chance to look at the problem.
Little Rock has the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, here's my question, that we've been doing a lot on Lake Number 1. We're doing lots of earth moving and grading and everything. When does this take effect if the emergency passes? And would this affect them, I guess is what I'm asking? Would they have to come back in now that they're already in the middle of,
Well, that's over. I hope.
well, there's still work being done around the edges and stuff, so.
Yeah, I would think that would be grandfathered in. I mean, it's 99% finished.
So if we just don't pass the emergency, then we're okay?
If you don't pass an emergency clause, any ordinance that we have except for bonds become effective in 60 days.
60 days.
If you pass the emergency clause, it would be effective upon publication. So it's effective immediately, but you can't hold punitive rules against people until they've been publicized and they're aware of the rules.
And they're already,
We can wait 60 days. Let's just don't do the emergency.
right.
Okay?
I just don't want them to be penalized to be in the middle of a project or whatever, have to stop to come in and get, okay.
Okay.
Okay, so on the motion to adopt, Ross?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Height?
Yes.
Witcher?
Yes.
Do you want me to call the emergency and then you vote it down, or don't call it? Since it's included?
Technically, someone would have to call for it, but it's voted on in a separate section.
Okay.
I mean,
So-
it's included in the body is why I'm
If
asking.
someone wants to call it, they can call it, but
All right, we don't want to call it.
Okay,
Okay.
so that concludes new business.
Okay, let's go into public comment, and let's see who I got here. Courtney Mixon.
I don't really have anything prepared tonight. I'm just going to let you know what had happened about a week ago. 3 pit bulls were picked up from a property, and they weren't doing any harm. They weren't doing anything, just being in the backyard. The neighbors loved them. It was the same one that Katie Anderson had spoke about. One night he came home from work to find his dogs gone and a warrant on his door, and he moved here 3 years ago and had no clue about this pit bull ban that we have. Sorry. He did his due diligence to get his dogs back, and Diamond died from the spay surgery that he had to go through. My husband, John, helped a complete stranger, Jermaine, bury his dog. A complete stranger cried in front of us, and we wept with him. This legislation is hurting families, and that wasn't just a dog to him, that was his child. He even said that to us. My dogs are my children, and I can't imagine what he's going through to do everything he could do to get his babies back. And out of North Little Rock, only to have one die. We want change, and I know y'all can help us with this, and we're begging y'all to help. Diamond was Jermaine's child, and if it wasn't just a dog to him, it was, thank you.
Thank you, Courtney. Jimmy Ard.
Mayor, I won't surprise you this time, I promise. On November the 10th, the offices will be closed, but sanitation has chosen to work, so your garbage won't be picked up a day late. Also, on November the 8th, that's when they're going to start their leaf pickup. Meantime, they'd like you to keep on bagging them and put them out for the regular trash people to pick up when they come by. They don't want you to put, when they start raking them, they don't want you to put them in the gutters, out in the street, or in the curbs, because it will stop up the sewer, and that causes big, big problems. And I had to depend on the council members to tell me what area of town they're going to start on. When I found this information from a fearless leader of the city, I forgot to write it down. So the council members, when it's your time to talk, we'll let the people know where to go to and which area of town they're going to start picking on. Appreciate it very much. Hi, Victoria Lee.
Bobby Taylor.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. My name is Bobby Taylor. Mayor, I don't know whether you can do anything about this or not, but if you can, I'd appreciate it. It's the mail system in North Little Rock. This happened a few days ago. It's happened before, but I was lucky to catch it. I got a notice that my light bill wasn't paid. It had been paid, but the North Little Rock Electric didn't get it. And I got that shut-off notice. And the number that y'all had on there to call, the postmaster, is wrong. It's unavailable. But anyhow, we called the North Little Rock Electric Department and found out how much the bill was. And my wife wrote a check and carried it down there to them. I have never missed, that I know of, and I've never had my utilities at the shop or at the house cut off. My wife takes care of all that. I just make the money to pay the bills. And she does a pretty good job. And we got that electric department straightened out, and they didn't cut my electricity off. But a few days later, I was waiting on my my bank statement from the bank. It's still floating around out there somewhere. I don't have any idea where it's at. My wife had to go to she waited as long as she could, and she went to the bank and got a copy of the check. So that's what my bookkeeper works off of. She figures my taxes off of my bank statement. I don't know where it's at, but my wife went and got it and carried it up to the post office. We don't never mail nothing on the front door. We take it up to the post office, not to the outside box, but the inside box. And my wife told him what the problem was. He said, well, you can overnight it for $21. Well, that's a joke, because we paid the $21, and my bookkeeper called me the day after the next day and told me that I was going to have a $36 late charge on my sales tax. So the $21 and the $36, that $57 at the post office cost me. And talking to them people up there, some of them talks a little bit, and some of them is just about like talking to a bucket of sand. You don't get nothing out of them, just a grunt. I can't understand that. So if there's anything that you can do, I'd appreciate it, because there was 2 days, Rose City, Boyer never got a piece of mail. We checked. They didn't even get none. 2 days after that, the guy in a van was out there following his mail truck around to see what was going on. And I know this has happened before, but I'm going to be watching my light bill and my gas bill, because I got it wrote on a piece of paper there in the house on my safe, that I can look at it and tell them if I don't get one, I'll be calling the gas company and asking them how much it is. If I have to, I'll write a check and take it to them, because I don't want my lights cut off.
Bobby, I'll just give you a suggestion, and I did it 2 or 3 years ago, and I love it. It's the automatic withdrawal that they, and it's the last day that it's due. They'll pull it out of your checking account, and you never have to write a check. You don't do anything. And gas companies got it too. I've got my gas and electric both on it. It's the best thing in the world to do. You don't do anything, and it just comes out. Because starting the first of the year, I believe we're not sending out shut-off notices, so you wouldn't even known this had happened. But I'd strongly suggest you do that.
Well, I never have allowed anybody to mess with my bank account, but hey, that's...
I didn't either. I'm from old school, but man, I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it.
I may have to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a credit card in the shop one time, and I won't have anything to do with a credit card, and that hurts some of my customers.
Well, call Karen, and she'll get you in touch with somebody in finance, show you how to do that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, I appreciate you. And the last thing I have, I know the street sweeper, I don't know who's in charge of it, but that thing has a steering wheel on it, don't it?
I'm not sure, but we'll look.
Well, or levers or something, you know, it's got some way of guiding it.
Yeah.
Just see if you can't get over next to the edge of the curb.
I can do that.
Into the concrete instead of the asphalt.
Good point.
All right.
Good point. Thank you, Bobby.
Okay.
Mayor, on what Mr. Taylor said about the mail, I mean, in my neighborhood, we've been having problems for months. And I'm not so sure that it's the mailman. I almost think it's coming from whoever is sorting it.
I don't know.
I don't know. But it's been an ongoing issue.
Yep.
I have a compliment. Can
Absolutely, we love
I do a
compliments.
compliment?
Sure you can.
Chief Davis, I just want you to know that I don't know what's going on in the Crystal Hill area, but on the police or protection or driving around, but I can tell you what, those officers aren't sitting put. I mean, because I don't know what the new formula is, but boy, I tell you what, I've seen a lot of officers
Did you
in
get pulled
Crystal
over?
Hill. No, I didn't. I'm just saying it's a comfort feeling. It's like, you know, so I don't know. Maybe I'm home all the time. I don't know, but I just see officers now, and it's kind of nice. So anyway, thank you.
Ms. Scott?
Mayor, I failed to remind you earlier about our budget dates. So the budget will be delivered to you all on November 1st. And Mayor, I believe we're still going to have that hearing on November 13th at 5.
Yeah, that's the first meeting in November. Yeah. All right, we're going to have a public hearing, the first meeting in November at 5 o'clock. That'll give you all 13 days to go over the budget. I encourage you to, in those 13 days, you know, ask all the questions that you can, and then we'll try to, you know, cut that meeting, you know, in 1 hour on that day.
Is the public hearing, do you want minutes taken on it, or it's just the purpose of a public hearing and there won't be a meeting convened? I prefer there not be a meeting convened, just if you want.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, good.
That's fine. Mr. Height?
Couple of things.
Okay.
First one is that I've had a lot of phone calls and a lot of emails, and people ask me about this service line warranty, water warranty that we get in the mail. And I try to tell people it's insurance and et cetera. You know, it's like buying car insurance, but you know, if you feel like you need it, it's a good thing. It's a good deal. And so after the recent water leak in my front yard, I mail my check the next day. So I'm now a customer. So when they call me and ask me, the second thing I have.
There's 4,000 North Little Rock people on that.
Yeah, there's two people on our street that have used it and benefited from it. The second thing is, everybody here got a City and Town magazine, and I was going to bring mine and brag on the great article about Alderwoman Ross in there in our latest edition of City, and that was a good article.
When did it come out?
Last week.
We got what,
Yeah,
a
I
week or
hadn't
two
seen it
ago?
yet.
We got, yeah. You didn't look at yours?
We're proud. I hadn't seen it yet. We're proud of our council member from Ward 1. Speaking of that, I need to talk to both of y'all about a project. Linda?
I need to speak with Karen after the meeting.
Okay, Ms. Ross.
I have two announcements. The first is Saturday is the Dogtown Derby. 9:30 it starts right up here on the Main Street Viaduct, so the street will be blocked off. You'll have to detour around. And this year, the special event I just found out is Chief Tucker and Chief Davis are going to be racing each other. So that's going to be a big event. So
Yeah, it's going to be fun. 9:30 is when it starts, Saturday morning.
That's right. The second thing, this will be the last meeting before Veterans Day. North Little Rock, we've partnered with the Arkansas Department of Veterans Affairs over the past few years and combined our ceremonies. This year, they've been a great resource to us. They've helped us with everything that we've needed for our ceremonies and partnering with them. It was at the new Veterans Home last year. This year, the ceremony, they've been rotating it around. This year, it's going to be held at the MacArthur Museum of Military History on Saturday, November the 11th at 10 o'clock. So North Little Rock, we will be combining with them, but it will be in Little Rock this year. But the Veterans Memorial Committee members are setting up a missing man table in the Lehman Library too, with Veterans Day, information and everything. So if anybody wants to stop by Lehman Library, they'll have that set up with different services with their hats and everything on the table. So Mr. Baxter's wanted to make a comment on that. But the missing man table will be set up at Lehman Library the week of Veterans Day.
Thank you. Ms. White?
Mayor, I haven't talked to anybody about this, but I've had several people in the last couple of months say something to me about free Wi-Fi, and I saw the city of Jonesboro has now added Wi-Fi to their city. I'm not sure if it's the downtown area. I have no idea what the cost is. I know Chattanooga some years ago had, they came here and the mayor.
$1 billion is what it cost Chattanooga.
$1 billion?
$1 billion.
There you go. Okay.
Where did they get $1 billion?
Wow.
Yeah, we've looked at that, and we even thought about doing it downtown, but all the 90% of all the cities and utilities have done that, have lost money. And so Jason and I have really been wrestling with it for maybe a year. And finally, when I got all these, I think at the U.S. Conference of Mayors meeting, I brought back a bunch of information, and we decided it probably wasn't what we could do. So, but if you got a better idea, we'd love to look at it.
No, I think about areas of the city that don't have good access for various reasons.
You know, are these smart cells going to address any of that, or is it just strictly phones?
Smart cells are going to address a lot. Smart cells are the push towards 5G. And, you know, we had an agreement a while back with Verizon to push forward with 5G small cells, and it really wasn't getting off the ground. The technology was too immature at the time. Now it is maturing quickly. Little Rock has already entered into an agreement or issued an ordinance about small cell attachments. It's a whole lot easier for them because they don't own the plethora of poles and light poles and all of the things that we own. So we have a much more robust agreement that we're negotiating through with AT&T, which would probably end up with a modification to our agreement with Verizon too. The thought process is that these are going to deploy over the next 5 years rapidly. A small cell is think about a cell tower that's shrunk down, you know, to a size that it can be attached to a street light. They're shorter range and they're designed to handle data better. So the information still has to be backhauled across fiber, but it moves us to the next generation of connectivity.
Sounds like a party line to me.
Well, it's a...
Oh, I'll hang up.
Right. Well, and kind of as you move along, you would probably hop those towers pretty quickly. You would. But it'll handle a whole lot more data than what we can handle right now. And it's to press forward towards what they call the Internet of Things, where everyone's house is fully connected and their car is connected, and you'll be wearing multiple devices on your person that are connected. You know, so I think it's coming. It's coming. I'd say in the next 5 years, we're going to see that in our community, and it's going to change the way things happen.
No doubt. Anybody else? Mr. Baxter.
Speaking of festivals and activities, we have the Catfish Festival out in Burns Park on Sunday, 2 to 7. Food trucks, bouncy houses for the young folks. I think it'll be a good time. Last time probably to get out before it turns cold, maybe? We can hope.
Let's hope so. Ms. Ross.
That reminded me, Patty on Park Hill is back. Yeah, they were only going to do it. But this year it's going to be at Park Hill Elementary. They're going to be giving tours of the elementary school also. I believe it's noon to 6 this Saturday. Lots going on this Saturday.
One more for Saturday is that Halloween event on the Levy Trail between 34th and 38th from 4 to 6.
Okay.
It's the first time.
All right. Bob, Major, and Danny, if y'all hang out just for a little bit when the meeting's over, and I need you to. Ms. Whitby.
Just wanted to reintroduce Shannon again. I know most of you know Shannon Carroll. He was with Community Development for 19 years, and he is now with our department. He has spent the last few weeks with code enforcement, has been out with Russ Elrod writing tickets and learning all things enforcement. And this week, he's spending time with Sean and the inspectors in planning. So we anticipate by the end of the year, 1st of next year, we'll be up and running strongly, and Shannon will be taking care of business.
Good deal. Thank you. How about a motion?
So moved.
How about a second?
Second.
On the motion.
Ross?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Height?
Yes.
And Witcher?
What do you mean?